Hi there, it's Aline from Aline with Aline here. Huge welcome to the Aline with Aline podcast. And we are on, I believe, week 5 of the personal health journey. I think that's about right. We're a bit later this week because we had rather an interesting few days, as I'm sure many of us have been having with the new moon in Scorpio and coming out of that eclipse energy. And today I really wanted to share what's been happening with me, but also share the messages that I've been receiving for us. And today I really want to talk about being in our bodies as intuitive empaths. And before we carry on, if you feel, please share, like, subscribe. This is my cat's tail, by the way. This is Tigray, who likes to be around, so it's very cat friendly around here, so fur everywhere. Now, as I said, my name's Aline and I'm an intuitive empath, I'm an Akashic channel, I'm a natural channel, I'm a self-empowerment coach, and I've been going through really getting back to the basics of my health. What happened was 7 years ago, I had a little bump and basically fell on my backside at a shamanic workshop by the wonderful Foster Perry and Christos D. Perry after declaring my intention in the beautiful circle that evening. And my whole life changed. We're 7 years on, and what's been happening, I mean, we've had this water rabbit year, which has been bringing up a lot for us to finally deal with. And now we're in Scorpio. It's very much, we've had the new moon in Scorpio. It's very much really working out what actually works for us. And if we don't, the universe will just let it go for us. So that's what's been happening to so many of us. And I spoke in the podcast, the last one, about blessings in disguise. And today I would like to talk about noticing blessings, because the reason that the last few days we're a little bit later with the podcast is because I've mentioned before what happened with me in the summer of this year is I had to go on Western medicines, basically. And they've massively affected my body. That's the only way that I can describe it. I was told it's pneumonia or corticosteroids and inhalers. So I listened to the Western medicine, and I'm grateful for it because it's got me to a real place where I'm really examining what things mean for me. I'm really looking at how my body works, finally. We talk about fight, flight, freeze. We talk about parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. What I've been finding is I've been really investigating what everything is. And so I told you the story of how a family member was buying organic ingredients from an organic shop and got chatting to a lady there who said to my family member, Aline has to go and see this lady. She doesn't have to meet me, but she has to go and see this lady. And this massively resonated with me, hugely resonated with me. So this lady is an absolutely incredible naturopath, kinesiologist, healer. And since seeing her, like I said, on week 5, I'm now going on to, and they arrived today, I'm now going on to the next 6 weeks of really delving into what is happening with my body in terms of the imbalance and getting my vital energy back. And I know that's where a lot of us are at the moment. So there's a couple of things I wanted to share with you. So I went to the kinesiologist, Wana, a wonderful lady, to have my checkup and to see how I'm doing. And good news is I'm improving. Yay! I'm improving. And the flow of my kidneys has massively improved. So there's a certain product I don't need to have because my kidneys are working well again, which is wonderful. And we were speaking about various products that I've been missing, various supplements, because what we said, and I agreed, was what in the first 4 weeks, as we're working out what's going on with my body, is I don't take any supplements at all. And for those of you who don't know, what a kinesiologist does is they work with what your body wants. They speak to your body for you. So they work with, sometimes they can work with resistance, moving the arm up and down. Sometimes they can work with the leg. And Juana works with both of the arms and many, many, many other layers. So my body is speaking to her. And it's been, firstly, a real lesson in terms of, we can't do this on our own. You know, there's so many, and I believe this is so true for so many intuitive empaths, that we feel that we just have to do this on our own. Well, we're healers, we can do this, we can do that, we'll be absolutely fine. No, we need help. We have, as much as we like to help others, it's so important that we accept help ourselves, because otherwise there's no balance. Otherwise it's like this. Otherwise it's how my body was the other day, which I'll get into. And it's been such a beautiful, and I'm using that word journey, but it's been such a beautiful process for me, because it's really, really understanding and accepting help, which has been one of my, not the easiest thing for me to do throughout my life. I'm fine. Sound familiar? So I went to see Juana, I digress. I went to see Juana and we went through everything. And I said to her, I brought these supplements that said they wanted to come because I'm missing these. And it came up that my body wanted them again. So I'm going to tell you what they are. And I can pop them down in the comments below as well. A little swishy tail from Tigre there. So there is black cumin seed oil tablets. There is glutamine, which is a wonderful amino acid. There is lysine or lysena, which is another wonderful amino acid. What else was there? Oh, some of the things I say I know in Spanish, so it's cubanol. So like I said, I'll pop them in the comments. I can see the bottles in front of me in my mind. It's CQ10. There you go. It's CQ10 and various others. So there's quite a lot. I mean, if you know, when I walk, I rattle. So I will pop all those in there. But it was great because I'm not just taking the words of somebody else and putting my health into their hands. I'm also listening to my body and what my body would like. So it's teamwork. So when I would say that this message just came through, when you're talking to somebody else about your health and something doesn't feel right, get a second opinion. Or when you're talking to somebody else about your health and you don't resonate with what they're saying, just take a moment, feel why that is. Is it a resistance or is that not quite right for you? And do you actually need a second opinion and to be with somebody who resonates with you? Now, Juana resonates beyond with me. So we were in the, in the kinesiology session and checking. So there's still everything that I was told to avoid. I'm still to avoid that, and I have been. And because what happened with the corticosteroids is they've really imbalanced my digestive system, my spleen, my kidneys. Yes, so all of that. Kidneys are good now. Let's talk in the past. That's in the past. So when we take Western medicines, what the Western medicines that I was taking were doing were basically stunting my immune system, because my immune system had gone a little bit into overload and was attacking everything. So the corticosteroids that I was on stopped my immune system from attacking anything. And so what that does is, when our immune system is halted from attacking anything, it means that bacterial and viral infections can easily come in. And what this resulted in happening was I ended up with not enough oxygen in my blood and very, very tight bronchial tubes, and not being very well at all. So that's how that led me to the corticosteroids. But what it also did, and my fabulous teacher, Crystal T. Perry, said to me that taking those corticosteroids, because it was, I mean, I was on them for 9 days, really high dosage, couldn't eat, I was shaking. And what Crystal said to me, said, that got you back in your body. And this is what I want to talk about. As intuitive empaths, because we feel so much, because we can get a little bit distracted about what's going on around us, because we feel everything, you know, we can feel what's happening with somebody else. And oftentimes we don't know if that's ours or somebody else's. And all of a sudden we can feel these emotions. When we get sudden emotions, it's really easy. It's like, yeah, no, that's not mine, that's yours. But sometimes it can be so subtle, and we can so easily take on fears, emotions, anxieties of other people around us, because that is our natural way of being. That's, you know, we're empathetic and we're intuitive. So we receive messages and we feel what's going on with that person. And sometimes that can come up, like I said, very, very strongly. And sometimes it can be subtle and we don't realize, but we're taking on the energies and the anxieties of other people around us. So this is what I wanted to talk about. So sometimes for intuitive empaths, escapism is a wonderful, wonderful thing for us to do, so we don't feel what's going on around us, and we can leave our bodies. And it's so important to be in our bodies at the moment. It's really important to be grounding ourselves, to be really feeling into our bodies, to be speaking to our bodies and finding out what works for us. And this is why I'm sharing my experience with you, because I feel so many of us are going through this. And for me, what happened in the last few days, which is why we're a little bit later coming on. So in my kinesiology checkup, what came up, Wana said it's structural. So she went through and she said, is it chemical? Is it emotional? It's structural, which means it's my body. It means it was in my spine. There's something going on. Now, as I mentioned before, 7 years ago, I fell. And Chico's like, yeah, carry on, Mum. So 7 years ago, I fell onto my coccyx. And what that resulted in doing was I had a couple of slip discs, retrolistesis, but it also changed my whole body, which I didn't realize at the time, but it shook me. The universe obviously decided I needed a shake-up. So it shook me, and I ended up being diagnosed with something called central sensitivity syndrome, which is, and I don't want to say I'm this label, this is what my body was going through. So it was PTSD, it was fibromyalgia, and I'm talking was because it was, high sensitivity, hypersensitivity. I was always sensitive, but this was, you know, through the roof, hypersensitivity to everything, chronic fatigue syndrome. So that's what I was diagnosed with. And what I'm finding with this process, as I get to know my body, as I get to understand the processes that happen in my body, is a lot of the labels that we can be given are actually something entirely different. So I was told that I had such a thing. I thought, okay, I've got that then. I don't know what that is. I need to investigate what it is. So I did, but I still didn't really understand it. But now, going through what I'm going through now, 7 years later, I'm vegan. I don't drink alcohol anymore. And my whole health system, if you like, has changed. And also discovered that I was celiac, which explained a lot. And what happens is when our bodies are going through something and their sensitivity is so high, lots of other things can come up. So this is where I want to get to. So what I want to say is in terms of these tickets of fibromyalgia, etc., etc., it doesn't, if it resonates with you and it feels right for you, then absolutely. When I was told that I had these ailments, it resonated with me because it was the place that I was in, and I needed something to make sense. The place that I'm in now is, I want to be the healthiest I've ever been. I want to be my most vital. I want to be able to help as many people as I'm supposed to help on this earth, and animals. And I want to have the energy to do that. And this is why I'm going so deep now into everything. So what happened is, when I was with Juana and she was going through the kinesiology, she said it was structural. She arranged at that moment, and this is what I'm talking about, beautiful blessings. My family member met this woman who said, Aline absolutely has to meet Juana. And then with Juana, she said to me, it's structural, because my body was ready to say that. Now, with the bump that I had a scoliosis before. Various bits and bobs have been happening with my back anyway. And with the fatigue that I had after the corticosteroids and the inhalers and the not being able to breathe properly, I didn't really have any energy to do any kind of exercise or to really look after myself properly. And what was happening for me was, as I wasn't breathing properly, my body was trying to compensate by putting things in to try and get, to try and work out what was going on, to just try and put fuel in my system, because I didn't have enough fuel going round, because all my bronchioles were so closed and I didn't have enough oxygen in my blood. So this is what I'm starting to see of patterns, shall we say, that I felt was an emotional pattern. It's actually a physical one. It was my body trying to look for solutions. So this was fascinating for me. And because I've gone through the 4 weeks of working with the various flower remedies and, you know, cutting out all the products, my body's really talking to me, and it was ready to say, okay, now let's look at your back. And I was introduced to the most incredible osteopath. She's amazing. And Juana said to me when I finished the session, she said, what do you think of her? I said, es una maja. She's a magician. And it was absolutely incredible. So what had actually happened was, through stress, through displacement, my psoas and my diaphragm had become so crunched up together that I wasn't able to breathe properly. So where I was feeling anxious and where I was feeling like I couldn't breathe properly, it was because my diaphragm was so knotted. Because what had happened is, all around my jaw here, through tension, that had translated to my neck, to the atlas on my neck, which lines up with the sacrum. I'm sure lots of you know this, but this is just to explain what happened with me. So then what happened was, because this was all tense, there was referred pain, and the referred pain that I must have been going through for months without realizing it was compensating. So I was like this. In fact, if I look back at some of the videos, you can see me like that. So what happened was, where my scoliosis is at the back, that was twisting around more, and my sacrum was actually twisting around as well, to compensate for what was going on in my neck and my scoliosis. I was twisting like this and going down that way, which what that meant was all my organs also were getting really crushed. So there, you know, there's no room to move, and everything was being pushed up. So my sacrum, because it was twisted, was pushing everything up. I had one leg longer than the other, and it was pushing everything up. So with the psoas and the diaphragm, that wasn't allowing me to breathe. And I do wonder if that's actually what was going on and I didn't need to have those corticosteroids. But anyway, I'm grateful for the experience. So I saw this incredible lady on, what day are we on? We're on Wednesday, aren't we? I saw this incredible lady yesterday, Tuesday. And leading up to it, the power of suggestion, my body was starting to talk to me. I was really feeling what was going on, and my body was like, you need to rest, you need to rest, you need to rest, hence us being a few days later. So I was really trying to listen and rest, and it was incredible when I met this wonderful osteopath, because afterwards I just realized I hadn't been breathing properly. My diaphragm, and I know I sound a bit breathy at the moment, it's because it takes a few days for your body to adjust to how it is. But I am breathing so much more easily. And it is an absolute life changer, I can't tell you. So what I would like to say, as well, anybody, not even intuitive empaths, is really get in your bodies, really talk to your body. If you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling out of breath, really feel and listen to what's going on your body. Because with our parasympathetic and our sympathetic nervous system, when we have the fight, flight, freeze, that is to do with the psoas and the diaphragm. So really check in physically with yourself as well, absolutely mentally and emotionally. But there might be, when we talk about emotions being stored in the body, there might actually be physically something going on. And what was really interesting for me is when the osteopath was working on my neck, I remembered I had two neck injuries, and then, oh, that's the third one. And I really feel that as she was working on it, it was finally coming out, those accidents that I had. One when I was 5, when I fell off a wall. One when I was on an incredible, beautiful holiday, spa holiday, and the massage thingy went and I got whiplash. And another one was in a car accident. So that was coming up as well. And those of you who don't know me, I'm very fairy. So I can go here, there, and everywhere. So I hope this is making sense. And I just really, really felt to share this. So that was massively coming up. And the real sense that the message for today is, as intuitive empaths, let me make sure I'm straight. As intuitive empaths, it's so important to be in our bodies. Because if we are, even if we're not working as a healer, even if we're not working as a counselor or a massage therapist or any number, I'm just using a few, or any number of therapies, we will naturally be helping others around us. And I know you know what I mean. Families, friends, everybody comes for the shoulder to cry on. So it's so important that we look after ourselves. So important. And it's so important that everybody looks after themselves. I'm not saying that at all. But as intuitive empaths, we have a tendency to put everybody else before us and forget about what's really going on. And this is when our body will start talking to us. If we need a rest, our body will make sure that we have that rest if we're not listening. So last week I was talking about listening to our bodies in nature. This week is being in our bodies as intuitive empaths. So yes, it's beautiful. I'm a metaphysics coach. I love going into different worlds. I love visualizations. I love the metaphysical world. Absolutely adore it. What I'm learning is I absolutely have to balance the two, and we do have to balance the two, because as much as we may want to escape and not be in what's happening around us, it's really important that we are, and that we're realists. And we're realists in terms of, we're not all, oh, everything's lovely and wonderful and magical and rainbows. Because that's false positivity, and that's not going to help anybody, including ourselves, because we're just lying to ourselves. So when we're massively honest, and this is hugely compassion as well, it's being compassionate with people around us, and it's being compassionate with ourselves. So it's being compassionate enough with ourselves to say, do you know what? I'm actually going through a health situation at the moment, and as much as I would like to be there for you, my body needs me. I need to do this for me. Everybody will understand. Because when we're going through a health process, when I'm going to say journey again, as we're going through a health journey, it's so important that we take that time, that we don't try and rush and do something else, that we really, really take that time for ourselves. And that doesn't mean putting everybody else on hold. It just means putting yourself up higher. Because once you are in your body, once you are listening to your body, once you are allowing yourself the rest when your body says, that's enough now, you need to rest, just 5-10 minutes, and then we'll come back, instead of pushing through and then getting yourself to an exhausted place where your psoas and your diaphragm and your adrenals are all over the place because the cortisol rises and everything. The fight, flight, freeze comes in, there's so much, then you're not helping anybody. Particularly, you're not helping yourself. So I really felt to come on today to talk about being in our bodies. And as I say, if this resonates with just one person, wonderful. And the reason I'm coming on every week, I know a few days later, but the reason I'm coming every week is because I know, here it comes, no, still the tail, is I know there is somebody out there, if not many, going through the same situation. And sometimes we can feel we're alone, but we're not alone. And sometimes when we're going through a situation where we have to step back, not be as sociable as we were before, not drop everything to be on the phone and solve everybody else's problems, sometimes we have to say no. And this is what is imperative at the moment. With this new moon Scorpio energy, it's really important to put ourselves first, because we are preparing to go into 2024, and 2024 is going to be huge. We have to be ready for it. 2024 is all about really showing up for exactly who we are. And this is what's happening at the end of the year of 2023, the water rabbit year, is we're finally getting rid of those last things that really don't serve us. So there's a lot of shadow work going on. And particularly in Scorpio, there's always a lot of shadow work going on. So be really kind to yourself. Be really compassionate with yourself. Be really kind to others as well. And if there are, yeah, yeah, I've just received another message. So if there are situations where it's a little bit fraught and people are angry and having outbursts, this is where compassion is key. Firstly, for yourself, to remove yourself from the situation. And then if that situation has involved you, when you're in if you feel in a safe, comfortable place to address that situation, then you can. And have compassion for the people around you if that's happening to them and there's angry outbursts. Because we're all going through so much. We don't know what other people's stories are really until we really sit down, because not everybody says exactly what's going on with them. Some people, their go-to emotion is anger because that's all they've known. And all we can do is keep yourself safe and in a protective space and step back. And then if you feel family members, friends, then you can be there. Then you can have compassion for them, but mainly have compassion for yourself and keep yourself away from those volatile situations. Meanwhile, accepting that that person, those people are in their process. So for some reason that came up to say, some reason that felt really strong to say, there's an awful lot going on in the world. We all know what's going on. I don't need to mention it. And it's very sad. It's very difficult. It brings up a lot for everybody. And this is what I'm saying. It's about not being all Pollyanna, everything's wonderful, tickety-boo, etc. It's about really getting to know who we are I mean, let's look at the world as a whole. The world as a whole is not all light and it's not all dark. It's a mixture of the two. That is who we are as human beings as well. We are light and we are shade. And it's really important that we accept ourselves fully, 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 fully. And there's another podcast that I've done, which is Self-Acceptance as Intuitive Empaths, if you want to go back and watch that one, where I share some tools with you. That feels enough for today. And it's nighttime, so yeah, so excuse all the, we're not in the normal place. But I just really felt to come on and share that with you. Have compassion with yourselves, have compassion with others, be in your body as much as you can. So really grounding, breath work, if you can, and if you've been feeling, get myself upright again. If you've been feeling anywhere in your body that you feel you need to see somebody, when we put that out to the world, and this is what I want to say, when we put that out to the universe, I mean, look what happened to me 7 years ago. I said, I want to be my most authentic self. I fell that night, and then I've been on a huge health journey ever since. At this point now, 7 years later, I'm finally starting to delve deeper and deeper, deeper. I've been taking off layers, as we all have. But there's always something else to take off and something else to take off. My intention now is to be the most vital and powerful that I have ever been, so I can do everything I'm here to do and help all those that I was born to help. That's where I am at the moment. And to be in that place, this is why I'm going through this very, very intense health journey, which so many of us are. And when I say I'm saying it so you can hear it for yourself, because you are here to help so many people. You are here to be your authentic self. You are here to be an example so other people feel to be themselves around you. It's about really taking those masks off. It's about authenticity, and it's not fake authenticity. It's about being real, being really, really real with yourself firstly and others around you. And if others around you don't like the real you, see ya. It's Scorpio time. The universe is getting rid of what's not serving us. So on that note, we are 3 days after the new moon. So it's still that powerful time, and we're still going through what's happened with the eclipse energy as well. So we will be back next week, either Friday or Saturday, because actually I'm going away for a week, and I'm going to be switching technology off and really feeling into where I want to go. And I'm going to share what happens with me in that week as well with you, because I feel that it's going to be amazing. So much love. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be compassionate with yourself. Love yourself. Put yourself first. Be in your beautiful body. No matter how it looks, you're gorgeous. Okay? So much love. Please like, share, subscribe. Tell people if you feel this will help them, so we can spread the word, and let's unify and be our authentic selves together. So much love. Ho.